You raise your arm to grab something off a shelf, and suddenly, that sharp, vinegar-like, oniony stench hits you. Your own armpits smell like they've been fermenting. You quickly snap your arm back down to your side and glance around. You're praying nobody in the immediate vicinity caught a whiff of it, but deep down, you know the damage is already done. Which raises an incredibly frustrating question. Why do your armpits produce a smell so drastically more offensive than sweat from your back, or your forehead, or your legs? And why does the exact same body part smell completely fine on Tuesday, but reek like a biohazard by Wednesday afternoon? Welcome back to Useless Shit Explained. Today we are digging into the gross chemistry of armpit odor, and exactly how your body engineers this highly specific stink. To understand the smell, we have to look at the environment. Your armpits are warm, dark, and highly textured with hair. They are built like physical traps for moisture. But the real differentiator lives deep beneath the skin. Along with your regular sweat glands, your armpits, and your groin contain a specialized cluster called apocrine glands. Regular sweat is mostly just water and salt meant to cool you down. Apocrine glands operate differently. They secrete a thick, milky fluid that slowly makes its way to the surface of your skin. This specialized sweat doesn't actually smell like anything on its own. It's essentially just a highly concentrated delivery system for raw proteins and fatty lipids. The problem starts with the sheer volume. Outside of your groin, you have a higher concentration of these apocrine glands packed into your armpits than anywhere else on your body. Once that protein-heavy sweat breaches the surface, the thick cluster of armpit hair acts as a literal net, grabbing onto the fluid and holding it directly against your warm skin. When you throw a tight-fitting t-shirt over the top of all this, you completely cut off the air circulation. The moisture can't evaporate. You have heat, you have darkness, and you have a steady supply of protein-rich food trapped in a net. Your body has naturally constructed the perfect incubator for biological activity. That incubator is already occupied. Your skin is naturally covered in millions of harmless bacteria, particularly a strain called Corynebacterium, and they spend their entire existence waiting in your armpits for the apocrine glands to fire. The moment that milky sweat hits the surface, the bacteria gorge themselves. They systematically break down the dense proteins and fats into smaller molecules. This biological consumption leads to a chemical transformation. As the bacteria digest the sweat, they excrete metabolic byproducts like isovaleric acid, and most importantly, thioalcohols. Thioalcohols are incredibly potent to the human nose. This exact chemical compound is what registers in your brain as that classic, aggressive, onion-like body odor. The reaction is completely natural, but certain factors make it go nuclear. When you experience stress or anxiety, your body panics and pumps out a stress sweat that has an even higher concentration of proteins for the bacteria to feast on. Your diet plays a huge role too. Heavy consumption of garlic, raw onions, spicy foods, and red meat introduces sulfur compounds that make their way through the apocrine glands, making the resulting waste product even more pungent. On the outside, synthetic workout shirts trap the moisture against your skin instead of letting it breathe. Internally, a surge in hormones, like during your teenage years, simply forces the glands to work overtime. There's also a raw biological factor. Some people just naturally possess hyperactive apocrine glands, or they host larger populations of the specific bacteria that drive the chemical reaction. Sweating is a basic maintenance function, but when you combine our biology with a stressful day, a tight polyester shirt, and a spicy lunch, you turn a normal metabolic process into a social hazard, which is why it almost always strikes at the worst possible moments. You reach up for a gym selfie, you stretch during a first date, or you raise your hand in a high-stakes job interview and instantly clear the room. You can't change your genetics, but you can break the biological chain. Washing daily with an antibacterial soap directly attacks the surface bacteria population, leaving fewer microbes alive to eat the sweat. Standard deodorant just covers up the thioalcohols with perfume. A clinical-strength antiperspirant actively plugs the sweat ducts, physically blocking the milky apocrine fluid from reaching the bacteria in the first place. Swapping synthetic athletic wear for breathable natural fabrics like cotton lets the moisture evaporate. And if you do start sweating heavily, changing your shirt removes the trapped, damp environment entirely. Finally, simply trimming or shaving your armpit hair removes the physical net. Without hair to hold on to the sweat and bacteria, the odor drops significantly. Ultimately, that sharp stench is a side effect of a healthy microbiome. Your local bacteria are simply working through the protein supply your body provides. It's completely normal, even if it is incredibly inconvenient. Speaking of useless, gross body science, make sure you subscribe, because next week we are breaking down exactly why your pee is yellow. See you next time.